you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. Now, we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things we didn't even know about the first time around.
And you know what? We are still watching this, searching out those sci-fi messages. We found a bunch the first time. We're looking for some new ones. We're going to be asking what this episode, Parliament of Dreams, is going to be telling us. Now, along with those messages, we also love our games, Jeff. We love our games here at Babylon 5 for the second time. And while we really can't play the prediction game anymore, we can kind of revisit our predictions and revisit our first experience a little bit, right? So, Jeff, do you remember what you thought of, not what Parliament of Dreams would be, but after you watched it, do you remember what your initial impressions of this was the first time around?
You know, overall, and I was kind of surprised actually when I went back and looked at this, but overall I didn't care for this episode very much. I was like, oh, okay. I loved Netoth, and that is a love affair that lasted to the end with a little break in the middle, and I didn't like Lanier at all. In fact, I didn't like him for quite a long time. And I had some confusion around stuff. I remember I didn't really understand why this Earth-centric president and hate crimes starting to be perpetrated around the planet were happening. But we're also going to have this holiday to recognize the diversity and religious beliefs on Babylon 5. So all in all, I was kind of meh on it, although I have fond memories of it looking back. You remember what you thought of it?
I remember it being good, not great. It felt very season one-ish of 90s sci-fi. I remember thinking kind of like you, Jeff, it was really a mediocre episode that had some really fantastic parts interlaced, and those parts really elevated the entire show. I remember moments like Delenn and Sinclair getting married, and that never ever came back up again.
Nope.
I really want, like, would there have been a thing of like, had Sinclair stayed around and that relationship would have developed between Delenn and Sinclair, would they have eventually gotten to a spot to be like, well, you know, we've actually been married for like 3 years now already, and they would have called back to this moment. Like, I wonder if they would have done something like that. I also remember, like, at the end of the episode, there's that statement made about the various religions that compose humanity, contrasted with what I assumed at the time was a statement about how the other alien races are very mono-religious within their worlds, and we have all this diversity here with humanity. And then I also remember being very confused about the title, because there was neither a parliament nor dreams. And that's really what I remember about this episode.
Good news on that, Brent. I have evidence of time travel that will come up later on in our discussion on that exact topic.
Excited to hear about that.
Incontrovertible proof, but to get there first, Brent, we got to watch the episode. Let's go do that right now. For those of you joining us for the first time, Brent and I watched this thing 2.5 years ago. We haven't watched it since. We have a conversation about that first viewing up on our YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. If you haven't watched that, it looks terrible.
Awful.
But in fact, don't go to YouTube. Just go download the audio.
Jeff, I was looking at it earlier today, and I was realizing I think I was about like 60 pounds heavier.
You have slimmed up like very well.
Thank you.
Actually, yeah.
Thank you.
It takes those moments, of going
you
back
too,
though,
by
to
the
notice
way.
that.
You too.
Us
both.
Yes, and I've been packing a little bit back on, but 'tis the holidays and all of those great happy things that do that to us.
You've been eating a lot more lately, huh?
I've been out, yeah, and later in the day, which is, I gotta get better at that again. I will crack that whip on myself. If you're watching this on YouTube, you are about to transition into the reaction of us watching this episode. If you want to see the full unedited version of what we're gonna watch, you can catch that on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5 First. That's the number 5 and the word first.
Or whatever the link is down below.
Exactly.
Because that thing changes sometimes. Hey, heads up for everyone out there. Everything from this point forward is full of spoilers. So if you're watching Babylon 5 for the first time, you're where Jeff and I were about 2.5 years ago. Consider this your warning. You have been warned. If you want to know nothing, we could be talking about anything from any part, anywhere in the entirety of the Babylon 5 universe, lore, and whatnot. And not just that, but also pretty much any sci-fi that we have any knowledge of whatsoever, which is quite a lot. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcasting app, we're going to meet you on the other side of the episode where we are going to share our thoughts. We're going to talk about new messages that we uncover, maybe new messages that we didn't catch the first time around. Maybe we re-emphasize some old messages. So with that, Jeff, let's go watch an episode.
Let's do it.
How about an entire week where every alien species on Babylon 5 was encouraged to demonstrate their dominant religious belief? It'll advance the cause of interplanetary peace and
Their
understanding.
dominant
As bright
religious
ideas go,
belief.
this one's right up there with having my gums extracted.
My gums extracted.
Catherine Sakai! That's right.
Yep.
Dock Area 9 was the
Never fails.
overhead. I wonder, little jab.
Nothing. Take over. I got a few things to do.
Back in the day of random speaking roles for security officers.
I was told to give this only to Ambassador Jakar.
Well, leave
Jeff,
it.
you
I'll
have
look
been,
at it later.
So corrected.
I was told
Oh,
it was
it's a pig's head.
important.
Yes, I'm sure you were.
You stay put.
Apparently that "you stay put" was an ad lib.
Oh, really?
Like it kept moving. So he's like,
Greetings, Ambassador Jakar. It's been a long time, but I doubt you've forgotten your old associate Durrell. I am dying.
About time.
In fact, by the time
so
you get this
great.
recording, I will already be dead.
Cheers.
But
where's this
very
Jakar
shortly,
later on in the show, man?
So
Right.
will you.
What?
It was the dawn of the Third Age.
I forgot about
10
this
years
plotline.
after
I remember
the
it now,
Mari War.
but I forgot about
The
this.
Babylon
It's
Project was a
good. It's so
dream
good.
given form.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Its goal,
Oh, you know what we get in this
prevent another
one?
war by creating a place yes.
I think
Do
that's
we
this
really?
one.
That's where this comes from?
I think so.
Is this episode? Oh, gonna be listening for that.
I have ordered my considerable assets liquidated upon my death.
It's a great job on the makeup. Like, he
Will be
looks
given
old.
to someone eminently qualified to kill you. You will be dead within 48 hours of receiving this message. It pleases me to know that you will live in fear, Jakar.
I don't remember how this turns out.
But
Don't
not
tell me
for
though.
long.
Okay.
I don't remember how this turns out. Like, unless this is all like a ruse just to make him live in fear.
The timing here is great.
Diplomatic
There she
attaché
is.
Natoff reporting for duty.
Hey, good Natoth.
Your new aide, Ambassador.
Interesting.
Right.
Eating, purging. Catherine's on board.
Ugh.
I just saw her come through customs. Thought I'd let you know before you ran into her or something.
I appreciate that.
Unless you want to see her.
No.
Not
Yeah,
going
he
back
does.
there.
Was she with anyone?
No, not that I could see.
It's like, I don't want to see her. Also, can I see her?
Because actually, I'd really like to see her again.
Here we go, Brent. This is like this is peak Babylon 5 for Brent right here.
Look, I'm so staring at the idol right there, the big A idol sitting there on the table.
This seems so much more festive than Cartagia's court. Right? Even like when they have the jester doing his thing, like it's not this fun.
I want to know if JMS explained to anybody this idol.
Do you know what the last song said just before he died?
Veers into it too. He's like, ah.
Can I kill him now?
Let me get back to you.
You sure you don't want to see her?
Absolutely.
You know, there's a piece of me that I think wouldn't mind being a Centauri. Vadu.
What happened to that toast?
Commander, loosen up. You're supposed to enjoy yourself.
Peter Jurasik is living his best life right
Can't express
here.
how much I'm enjoying this.
London.
Where is she?
Business area, blue 3.
I love how much fun he's having. This is great. Here we go. Here we go.
Svendsen, god of belief, goddess of passion.
He's kissing her ass.
And have I ever told you that you are very cute for a Mimbare?
Dude, Claudia is losing it back there.
And you are cute too, in an annoying sort of way. Everybody's cute. Everybody's cute.
Everybody's cute. Please get that clip. Everybody.
Stunning.
And purple, I'm stunning.
Please get those two clips, Jeff. Please, let's get those as sound drops.
He's passed out.
That too.
How can you be sure there is an assassin on board? What if he only told you this to frighten you?
Unlikely.
She's like,
You
I am
said
sick and
anything's
twisted.
possible.
I thought
If
of
he
it.
wanted the best, he would have gone to the Assassin's Guild to get a killer. It is a tradition with the Thentamakor to leave a black flower near his victim as a warning so they can get their affairs in order. Have you received a death blossom?
Oh my.
Then I wouldn't worry. I'm sure the question will resolve itself soon enough.
I love him getting paranoid and her just being like, whatever. If there's a problem, yo, I'll solve
I'll
it.
solve it. Oh, it's the chess piece.
Yes, yes.
It's the chess piece. Yeah.
I like the little sleepy bedtimes music going on. What is that? Horse's head?
You have no idea how that got into my bed?
Don't know how a lot of things get into your bed, Ambassador.
Speculate on how anything gets into your bed. A reputed fascination with Earth women, for instance.
Her headpiece looks
Finding him
weird.
will be your first test.
In the chat,
Meanwhile, I will arrange for a little protection.
someone said it's actually
I thought you were going to
Kodat's
tell the Earthers about
headpiece.
I'm not.
Oh, is it?
Didn't have time to make a new one. Oh,
It
that's
is-
from
like
Glenn.
it does. Like it's very misshapen.
Yeah.
You know.
Young, wet behind the ears, Lanier.
We finally get Lanier. I thought we had Lanier from episode 2.
I've been expecting you.
For 3 episodes, apparently, according to Brent.
You can look up
Yeah.
Lanier of the third fane of Chudomo.
This is great.
It is forbidden.
I cannot have an aide who will not look up. You will be forever walking into things.
Okay, Ducat.
Please.
Jeff, all right. I want to clarify this. Sarah, over in our council chambers, drops into the chat. It's good symmetry that she said to him what Ducat said to her. What are we talking about? I feel like I just missed something. What is this?
Yeah, so Ducat before, so she became, she became Ducat's aide.
Right.
Early on when he was leading the Great Council, and then he kind of mentored her all the way up. That exact same scene happened where she wouldn't make eye contact with him, and he was like, look up. I can't have an aide who won't look at me. And she's like, it's not right. And you'll be walking into stuff, like word for word. It was the exact same scene.
I'm gonna send it back because I want to hear that. I remember Ducat saying that to Delenn. Now that you say that, I do remember that. So,
we go.
Smoky Alien Sector.
You wish protection.
Yes.
How will this guy do?
Empire, soldiers, guns. And
That's painful in my ears.
I need a bodyguard, someone who isn't from my own world. Oh, yes.
That's great. That's so great.
You're out of uniform. I'd almost forgotten what you look like. We're not good for each other.
I know. It was always 3 parts passion, 2 parts teeth with us, wasn't
Exactly. Can't go through all that again.
One more part passion than it is teeth.
Pretty good balance.
it? How's your hand?
How's your brother?
They're going to bed.
Oh, God. I can't believe
You know, I have water in my shower, Catherine. So.
Neither can I.
You know, I do see what he sees in her.
Oh, totally.
Will you follow me into fire?
What I love here is like they're trying to make their relationship poetry, right? Like they're talking about it at this like level of literature almost. And it just adds a whole level of mystique and mystery to it. That it's just very alluring. Like it's just, I remember liking this, but I don't remember it being this good.
Will you follow me into fire? And the 9 said, yes. Then do this in testimony to the one who will follow, who will bring death.
They got the little triangles with the
touched with
jingles on them.
promise of new life and renewal, disguised as defeat.
She just literally laid out the whole Minbari storyline.
Yeah.
From here forward. So I'm gonna take it back again a little bit. So she starts off with, in the fire and this. So that's like the
Garibaldi's
formation.
sleeping. Sorry.
What were you saying?
Garibaldi's sleeping.
It's kind of on brand.
Sorry,
but like it starts off with her being like, "Here's how." Oh, actually, yeah. Here we are. Fabio in the council chambers chat. Quote from Delenn is the same as the quote from Valen when he formed the first Grey Council. So she's starting at the beginning of the Grey Council. But listen to what she says and think about it in terms. I want you to think about her and Naroon reforming
in the Wheel of Fire.
Yeah, the whole Minbari society. Like, think about that story as she gives her whole.
Point of clarification: we didn't actually see Valen creating the Grey Council at first.
No.
Yeah, because all we ever saw of Valen was Sinclair standing there in very weird makeup that was like, "Hi, my name's Valen.
These are my kashas that I brought with me."
Right.
Okay, so let's rewatch this through that lens.
Into darkness, into death, and the 9 said, "Yes." Then do this.
Follow me
testimony to the one who
I'm sorry. The follow me into darkness and into death. Wasn't that the line that Ducat asked Delenn when he inaugurated her into the Grey Council?
I think so. Like, my guess is like, well, Fabio's saying it's what Valen said when he formed it, but I think that's probably the oath now to become Setai.
Yep.
Disguised as defeat.
That Wheel of Fire right there.
She's the culmination of the prophecy.
Yeah.
Taste of it.
Of it or it? That's two different things I'm going to do. Oh,
that is way too sensual of her to do that.
And so it begins. She just started the 5th season.
What in the world are you doing here? You were supposed to meet me at the Minbari ceremony. Well,
Uh-oh. Oh, no. That'd be great if that's what he said.
Let me see if I've got this straight. Let me know when you're finished. I want a full report.
Yes, sir.
Just think about how...
Ambassador, from the bottom of my heart, here we go. Hot pink is definitely your color.
Just think how in 3 years, that guy is going to be the only person that cares that no one knows where Garibaldi is.
Right. What the heck happened to Mr. Garibaldi?
I don't understand.
She's just
the
a
last
mind,
planet
like,
that you surveyed for us
traitor, whatever.
turned up a substantial amount of Quantium-40.
Yes,
First
and
mention.
under the terms of the contract, you are entitled to a piece of the profit. How's that look to you?
Like a lot of zeros.
Oh my.
I imagine you'll want to be celebrating your good fortune.
Good day, Mr.
Or
Kai.
her bad,
see you
or
back
just
at
her
the hub.
fortune, period.
Right. Thanks.
I want to know how much it is.
Yeah, she's looking around like...
Cheers.
You know, it's kind of like an honorable thing. She didn't even know that she was due that money. Like, they could have just kept it and not said a word, and she'd never known, you know? And it didn't do them any good to give it to her or to do that for her outside of maybe like, hey, be a good courier for us in the future. Like,
And they were excited for her, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is so great.
Right.
Almost makes you think there's some altruism to humanity.
or it really was, hey, part of this is like, you keep doing good work for us. Like a tip almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The courier to Pari, Ambassador.
Yes.
We've got an environmental brownout in Green 2. We need authorization to reroute power from sensors until we fix the couplers.
Fine, authorization granted.
Leave
I
me
should go, I'm
alone.
sorry.
Could have called whoever the commander is on duty right now.
You can have the floor, and I never... Don't touch me
Go for the
unless you mean
kiss.
it.
Go
I
for the kiss.
mean it. Right now, Crusade
I wish to
soundtrack
formally
could fit
request
as
that
well.
my attaché Natoth be reassigned immediately to another sector. What delay?
A lot of Narn in this episode.
Met with an unfortunate accident the day he was scheduled to leave for Babylon 5. We have not yet found a replacement.
What are you talking about? The courier is right here.
That's how he looked at me.
Like Jigsaw almost.
Right?
I don't understand it. They were just like standing up together, and now they're like, what happened?
You should sleep.
I need more.
They're doing what Talia and
Have to get
Ivana
up
are going to do
soon.
in about a season and change.
Right. Check out this hook. Clouds. I remember glasses. Yeah. Oh, pain stick. Pain giver.
That will make this far more
This
entertaining.
is like intersections in real time kind of.
Right. This is fantastic
Come within
for
fire,
intersections in real time.
and
Just
they will kill you.
he's cool and calm, just doing his
What do you
job.
want? My orders are quite specific. Now,
He's got
you
glasses
are to know
No
that
ears.
don't even come to his ears, and he doesn't have ear lobes to like hook them around. Like,
I imagine you could make me extremely wealthy, but to betray a commission would violate the spirit of the Thenta Makur.
I love how he's like Clearly just a nerd who knows how to kill people really well.
But we must all make our little sacrifices, Ambassador. I have made mine.
Ambassador?
And you are about to make you.
You know what? I really like this guest actor.
The what?
The guest actor.
Ambassador?
There.
Yeah. He's perfect for it.
Ambassador
Like,
Jakar.
he's great.
Why hold it in? Cry out, Ambassador.
Oh!
Someone will
Cry
hear.
out!
I would
Cry
die
out. Cartagia.
before giving you that satisfaction.
You know what? Here you go. I would die before giving you that satisfaction. Wow.
Natoth, this is none of your affair, Natoth.
Oh, it is now.
While you can.
I'm his
Not
aide.
until I've done what I came here to do. I'm your backup to Par.
So I was gonna say, at what point are we like, oh, she's in on it? Oh, she came to kill Jakar. Oh, like it's supposed to seem like they're against each other, but then it's gonna seem like they're together, but then they're really against each other, and he's gonna play this back and forth. It's good writing. It's really good. Well done, Jameis. I'm glad you took that bit of advice from me that one time. She's legit like whooping his butt, man.
Just got to make him believe.
Sure.
You're making a mistake. Perhaps.
Had a real close camera angles there.
Ambassador, it was the only way to disable the pain givers. What are you going to do with Tupari?
I'm gonna.
Oh, yes. Well, you're finally awake. But to make up for it, I went ahead and deposited a substantial amount of money to your personal account back home.
No, the Federal McCour. They'll think I betrayed my commission, sold out our principles. They will kill me.
Yes, they will, won't they?
Actually, they should be here in about 1 hour. It would be even more unfortunate if they were to find you here when they arrive.
She's so excited. I love
Happily,
it.
I'm safe because the commission was yours alone. That's your flight. I suggest you board quickly. With luck, they may never find you. But if they do, you will know pain.
And you will know fear.
And then you will die. Have a pleasant flight.
God, they're perfect.
Right?
Somebody got married the other day.
Maybe that's why Jakar's smiling. Funny. I didn't think Londo was his type.
Ironically, he totally is.
I will say the chemistry between these two is
It's real.
off the charts.
Jeff.
Yeah.
You think we'll get it right this time?
I don't know.
But I'll sure have a good time trying.
I guess we take it to understand that was Catherine shit.
I know. He said it'd be just a few more minutes.
It's like they're
Mr.
only
Harris.
demonstrating
He's
the
an
various belief systems
Father Crisanti, a Roman Catholic.
to
Mr. Hayakawa, a Zen Buddhist. Mr. Rashid,
each other.
a Muslim. Mr. Rosenthal, an Orthodox Jew, running elk of the Aglala Sioux faith.
That's interesting. You had a Muslim and an Orthodox Jew standing right next to each other.
Yeah, which is great.
Varro tribe.
I understand there are like 160 people lined up.
So I did read something in the Lurker's Guide about this moment right here
Yeah.
that I would normally save it till later, but it's so strong. Regarding Sinclair remembering all the names of these folks, I'm quoting here. It says, we used many of the real names of the people that were just standing there in line, many of whom did belong to the religion that they had come to represent. They went down this line of, he says, 250 people and went over their names twice with O'Hare. That's it. After that, he got each name right every time. Amazingly quick memorization.
Wow.
Those were their real names as he went down the line. Interesting, right?
That is impressive. All right, Brent, we just finished watching Parliament of Dreams for the second time. What is top of mind for you, my friend?
You know, this episode is better than I remember it.
Agreed.
I
Big
had
time.
way more fun watching this episode this time around than I remember having the very first time I watched this.
Totally.
I'm going to attribute some of that to the quality of the episode. The episode was really funny. I found myself laughing a lot through this episode.
A lot, yeah.
I think also the company is a big reason why I enjoyed this episode better, because last time I watched it by myself.
Right, makes
So
a difference.
I do think the company was there. But you know, when you're in these early episodes in your world building, here's the thing. We know what happens with Catherine and in Sinclair. And so we love this moment.
Mm-hmm.
We know what happens with Lanier, even at the end when we hated that part, but we know his whole journey. And we love seeing early Lanier here. We know what happens with Londo and Jakar and those guys, and watching them in these elements. Just this is an episode as a veteran viewer of the series. wraps everything in nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like it just feels good coming back to this episode because I think of all of these various elements that we had, and even watching Claudia crack up in the background and like just these little pieces all the way through, man. A lot more fun than I remember. A lot more fun. This episode is elevated for me watching it a second time around.
I think this episode elevated for both of us as we watched the series because we were able to kind of think back to it in a couple of ways. I mean, nothing profound, no profound seeds were planted here or anything like that, but just at a high level, as time went on, we remembered it more fondly. Coming into this, there's nothing to not like about this episode. This won an Emmy for makeup design, and it's obvious. Like the costuming and stuff, and the makeup looked fantastic. The writing was brilliant. The chemistry, not just between Sinclair and Sakai, was amazing, but G'Kar and Natoth. Like, I mean, the character development that happened in this episode is incredible. But what I love too are the things that watching it through the lens of knowing what happens. Those little lines, right? I didn't think Londo was G'Kar's type. Well, turns out they're literally going to end their lives together. They're going to spend all that time. Londo with in purple, I'm stunning. Turns out in black, you're kind of a jerk. The assassin, right, telling G'Kar to cry out and then him saying that he would die before giving him that satisfaction. We see that here in villain G'Kar. And we kind of like, oh, look, I think it's part of why we might not have liked it as much the first time, is G'Kar was still just the clearly evil reptile.
Well, I mean, I'll go back to the idea. There's so much foreshadowing in this episode. You don't understand foreshadowing when you're on your first trip through.
Exactly.
You just don't. Like, good luck picking out sometimes you can look at that and go, that's foreshadowing right there. But good foreshadowing, you can't do that too.
The one thing you can say, and this is foreshadowing, is the mention of Quantium 40. And we called that out the first time we watched it. Oh, that's going to be something. It's very valuable. And they made a point of calling it out. Nothing else in here seemed to stand out as anything.
And Quantium 40 becomes?
Jump gates. That's how they make jump gates.
Did not remember that, but okay.
Yeah. It does. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, like early on, just because it's so rare and such a thing, and then it becomes less of a. They call it Q40 eventually. Slime for it.
Do they now? Q40.
They do.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Do they ever bind it with somebody's skeleton and make it impenetrable?
Like Quantium 40 claws.
Make that person just be able to blip around the universe like Nightcrawler. Here's a cool note from our friend Nia, quoting JMS. I don't know if this is in Lurker's Guide or if this is somewhere else. The biggest change in the show came once we began writing scripts after they began shooting the episodes again. They could see the actors and find their fingerprints and stuff like that. And this episode is the first one that they wrote after they started filming. The other ones that we've seen so far were all written, I guess, in that year interlude between The Gathering and when they started reshooting, right? So this is the first one once the actors were back on set and you could see how they were doing. I think this is why this feels so much more in line with the characters that we know and love.
Yeah.
In that area. That's a cool insight.
It was sad to me watching this, how much time they spend developing Sinclair and Catherine Sakai, knowing what comes, and through no fault of, anyone or whatever, but it's just like, and I feel like we talked about this even when it happened, but it's like, I wanted to see that relationship play out.
But you know what though? I think there's a piece where in your head, it's almost like Crusade, like you can see where it's going and you can appreciate that. And you're just sad that it gets cut short. We
talk about foreshadowing, and we're going to come in a couple weeks to an episode called By Any Means Necessary.
Yep.
And in that episode is the first time we see religious G'Kar. And you and I, we'll talk about it a lot more when we get there, but we're like, this is BS. Like, this is him totally posturing as the whatever. There's a part of me that asks, knowing that part of G'Kar now, here we are talking about the dominant religions. Where was he for all of this?
We didn't get the Narn one. Did we?
But it makes sense why we did. That's why they had the whole assassin storyline. Let's occupy G'Kar over here with the assassin thing so we can save that religious piece for the By Any Means Necessary storyline when he's going after the flower and stuff like that.
I don't think you needed to save it for them though.
Well,
I
don't think you needed to, but it's still like, yeah.
I still feel like that piece of his character was a piece. And JMS, if you're watching this, please tell me I'm wrong. It still feels to me like that was a change in the character as they continued to develop the character as they went on. And that even that stuff that we know that G'Kar goes on to become, that maybe that was not necessarily in the original character Bible of his particular arc. We know he goes from bad to good, and they did that on purpose. But to make him be such a religious figure, that may not have been. I could be really wrong about this. I fully admit that.
I would bet that it was part of the plan.
It just, I don't know. It's just but that change you're talking about that you and I both felt, I still feel it right now. And it just feels so.
It was drastic. Here he is, by Jaquan, this, what? Where's this been the whole? We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Let's back to this. Brent, we, and this came up in our council chambers chat, but I'd pulled it also. So I alluded earlier that I have incontrovertible proof that we have time traveled back and influenced the story of Babylon 5, and I shall present it here. You and I didn't disagree. In fact, I actively agreed, but you made a big point of saying that there was neither a parliament nor dreams in this. And so JMS responded to that criticism.
Did he now?
He did.
Okay.
And he said that a parliament is a gathering of officials, representatives, which matches the story in terms of representatives of different places and beliefs. And the dreams are the belief systems themselves. So he wouldn't have said that unless he knew that you had called him out on this is neither a parliament nor a dream. So there you go, naysayers.
There you go. There you go. Because we know nobody questioned it between then and you and me first bringing that up a couple years ago.
They're all just like, this is a great episode. I mean, why would we question anything?
Well, also, that was a time where we really didn't know the titles of episodes very well.
No,
like we weren't doing that, Although now we're going to get in the chat. Everybody's going to be like, I knew the title of every episode as it aired when it very first aired on P10. Really now? And maybe you did, but still, come on.
Another thing I pulled out of the Lurker's Guide that I thought was great. It says the atheist was not only first in line, he was also the best dressed and smartest looking in the line as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it goes on to say, though, he says, our dominant belief is that all beliefs are respected. So I think we read it the first time as like, it's just calling out our diversity. It's this. No, what it's calling out is our respect and our inclusion for everyone.
Yeah. So I remember, and I said this earlier, my thought was that where it was portraying all these other worlds as mono-religious, and it showed the diversity of humanity. And again, a part of that, we're better together. There's strength in our diversity. Our diversity is what makes us, human. What's what makes us good. That's not necessarily what we got here. Because what we heard from so much was the dominant religion, right? Not the only religion, but the dominant religion. Well, okay, what is the dominant religion here on Earth right now? Okay.
I don't know.
What separates the number one from the number two religion as far as numbers go? Like if you're looking at pure dominance, as far as numbers and spread go,
it's probably not a lot.
Not much.
Yeah.
We don't, but so again, to say that what these other religions or what these other races are representing as a dominant religion still comes across, still you can intimate, you can interpret that as saying, well, it may not be the only religion on the world. This is the dominant one. This is the one that pretty much everybody kind of goes with. Not 50.1%, but this is the big one, right? Whereas with humanity, really, it's a lot of different religions, and there really isn't that much space that separates them all, But I like what you just said there, Jeff. The dominant belief on Earth is that all beliefs can be respected. I like that.
Yeah, that's a JMS thing. I can't take credit for that.
Yeah, I like that.
So according to the internet, Christianity is the most followed religion with about 2 billion believers. Okay. Islam follows behind at 1.8 billion.
See, in those numbers, that 0.2 million right there is, or 0.2 billion is not much. And probably
especially
followed after that by Hindu, I would imagine.
Yep. Hinduism at just over 1 billion. So it goes to a 200 million to a like 700, 800 million drop.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still pretty significant numbers though, Still pretty significant numbers.
Well, Brent, I think we've reached the part of the show where we boil this thing all down and see what messages were in this one. I did a little bit of looking. Ron from our council chambers did, and there were some other people who started it. He picked up the mantle and continued the work, but they were tracking our ratings for the various episodes. Yeah. And so I decided it might be fun to kind of look that up. In season 1, we were each giving each episode a Delta rating, and that was a combination of how much we enjoyed the episode and what message we found in it.
Well, and to be fair, I do think that what we were saying back then is how Star Trek the message was.
Yeah,
I think what we meant was just how sci-fi is, like how sci-fi is that message. But that was also you and me still very, very steeped as Star Trek podcasters.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
trying
don't
this
think we
other
meant.
thing.
I mean, we meant sci-fi, but I don't think we meant sci-fi at that time. I think we were saying the Star Trek thing.
What we not understand is not even now. Here's the thing. We've always said, and I still believe that Star Trek doesn't own the market on messaging in sci-fi. Right. But they certainly have led the way for many, many, many years of using sci-fi as an allegory, specifically sci-fi. Right. So you kind of elevate those two side by side, but I think also in our wisdom, we later were like, yeah, it's not fair just to call it Star Trek because it's not film only.
It's one of my favorite things in the story of Babylon 5 for the first time is the progression from deltas to white stars. Is like that. I
think that is the central. That's the central tracking mechanism of yours and my journey through Babylon 5 is the progression from deltas all the way to white stars.
I want to say there's a ton of intentionality behind that, but there was not. Just literally as we were getting ready to do the next season, we were like, hey, should we change this thing? Yeah, we should change this thing. But for Parliament of Dreams, I gave this episode out of 5, 2 deltas.
Okay.
You, Brent, gave it half a delta.
Wow. I must have not liked this episode as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
I said I remember feeling very mediocre about it with some elements that lifted it. Interesting. Okay.
Neither one of us really pulled a lot of messages outside of humans are super diverse and we're showing it off.
Yeah.
Did you find anything else in this one? Any other messages on the second watch?
Not really. I mean, I don't, maybe I was just laughing so much through this episode. I will say one thing I did pull, right? Catherine Sakai comes in, and one thing that stood out to me more than anything else I've thought about in this rewatch is how strong of a character Catherine Sakai is. She is her own person. By the way, also another ripoff from Deep Space Nine. Cassidy Yates and Catherine Sakai, pretty much the same character.
Yeah, again, she didn't show up to like the 4th season though, so.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. Like, that's where Star Trek's ripping them off. But anyway, Catherine Sakai, super, super strong female character. Ivanova, super strong female character. Talia
is a female character.
Takashima, for the one piece that we got her for, super strong female character. Dorina, super strong female character. Lots of very strong female characters throughout the course of the show, right? But I remember going back to Becoming Superman and the story, and I don't know why I'm fixated on this. I think because I see this now as a theme in his work. His story about Janine Melnitz from The Real Ghostbusters when he was doing that. And he wanted Janine to really become a very strong character. And he made her this very strong. And then she got spayed. I think neutered would be the word I would say in general case, but she got spayed. She got whatever. And she had to put on the dress and go back to all of that. And JMS just was not happy with it at all.
Yeah.
You know, and I really like, this is a thing that is, it's so, Natoth comes in as a super strong character as well. Like, this is a thing that is a JMS hallmark, super strong female characters as they come in. I like that. I love that, especially back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. At this time, 94, like this is important stuff.
And Lita, Dylan's pointing out Lita goes on her own journey, but certainly by the end, she is a scary person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a meta message, right? Of like, here's the thing. When you were saying that, I think I have one also, because I didn't have anything coming into this, but this was a fun episode because the people in the episode were having fun.
Yeah.
Like that scene with the Centauri thing, like, you know, Ivanova cracking up and Londo going nuts and throwing stuff at Sinclair. They were having a blast.
They threw the bread at Sinclair's head.
Everybody's cute. And just, I mean, so, and even Jakar, right? Like he got this assassin coming after him and he's dropping.
Oh, yes.
Look at all, when he does it, like every single person had a blast.
Yeah.
Putting this together. You and I recently watched an episode of Stargate and we had that same impression. Like everybody was having fun in the writer's room. They were just being ridiculous and throwing some stuff out. And it's like, this episode
and it all
is
worked.
Great.
It all
perfectly.
Worked. Yeah.
we were in it because they were in it. And so like the meta message I'm pulling out of this one is like, if you're going to do a thing, do the thing. Like get in it and have a good time.
Yeah. Hopefully
Everything
that's
will be
picked
better.
up from our viewers in our show because we have a whole lot of fun on this show, Jeff.
We do.
We really do. We have a lot of fun.
Let's see if we have fun with this one. This is one of our favorite parts of the shows that we put together. It's when we create the 100% completely accurate definitive rating of the Babylon 5 seasons. We're doing season 1. Obviously here we have our top 5, or top 4. We're going to be rounding out our top 5 this week. In 4th place, we have Soul Hunter. 3 is Infection. Number 2, Midnight on the Firing Line. And in the top spot, Born to the Purple. Brent, it falls on to you, my friend. Where is Parliament of Dreams going to land on this one?
Well, I have a question, Jeff.
Okay.
I've got a pretty good idea where I'm going to land this right now. Do you happen to have at your fingertips our original season 1 ranking from Babylon 5 for the first time?
I do not, but I can get to it relatively quickly. Okay. You want to know where Parliament of Dreams landed?
I want to know. I also want to know where Born to the Purple, Midnight on the Firing Line landed as well.
Okay.
Because our top 4 right now are Born to the Purple, Midnight on the Firing Line, Infection, and Soul Hunter. This will be above Infection and Soul Hunter for the record. I'm just curious where these 3 landed in conjunction to each other.
So we included The Gathering in this ranking. So we have 23 episodes.
Okay.
Soul Hunter was 23.
Okay.
Infection was 22.
Okay.
Midnight on the Firing Line was 16.
Okay.
Born to the Purple, 15.
Okay.
Parliament of Dreams, 13. So really, Parliament of Dreams, Born to the Purple, Midnight on the Firing Line, Infection, Soul Hunter.
Yeah.
Is was our top 5 from here.
Well, Jeff, I have to tell you, we are going to keep that same order. This is our new number 1 episode of the season. This is our new number 1 episode. This one, and we're going to be in that order. That's where this is going to land definitively. It just says we were right the first time around.
Exactly.
because why? We're definitive. We're accurate. We're 100% correct.
We're proving it out with this second viewing, right? Like it's all good. Well, cool. New number 1.
Oh, yes.
And that's going to wrap us up for Parliament of Dreams. Next week, Brent, we're going to watch Mind War for the second time. Do you remember what you predicted Mind War was going to be about?
I do. In fact, this one was real easy. I said that if Mind War was not about Psychor and the telepaths, I was going to be done with this show. Because it had to be about those 2 things. One of those 2 things.
And I agree with you for my prediction. I'm like, yes, it has to be. And if it's anything else, then it's dumb. Like, were we right? Were we wrong? How close did we get? Find out right here next week. Thanks for joining us as we watch this incredible episode for the second time. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching us. Like us, rate us, do all of those different things that you do on YouTube and the podcasting apps that you're listening to. We appreciate it very much. The thing we appreciate the most, though, is when you share this show with somebody else. This has been a blast for Brent and myself. I think our council chambers are having a good time. Everybody watching and listening is having a good time. Let's bring more people in to this second time viewing. So until next time,
hey,
I'm
Jeff.
going to actually, yes, Brent, what is up?
A bodyguard, you say?
Like, I need somebody in about 2 hours. Really, time's getting kind of tight.
All right. You think this guy's going to do?
Oh, yes.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
You got to send me that so I can get it in the show. That's great.